Hooray for Hollywood! Hello there, Stan the Movie Man with your WIMZ.com movie review. This week your votes at WIMZ.com selected absolutely nothing at all because it was a three-way tie between Blackfish, In a World, and Insidious Chapter 2. I used a tiebreaker that I sometimes use for these things, and that is which one is playing at a time most convenient for moi. And in this instance, it was Insidious Chapter 2. It stars Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Lynn Shay, Ty Simpkins, Barbara Hershey, and more. It is the story that picks up right at the end of Insidious. Actually, it starts with a flashback to 1986, when a young Josh Lambert is being hypnotized by a young Elise Rainier, and she's checking on these weird things he's seeing in his dreams. This gives us some background and more detail about what was discussed in Insidious. You jump ahead to the events immediately following the end of Insidious, and Renee Lambert, played by Rose Byrne, is being questioned by the police over the death of Elise Rainier, played by Lynn Shay. She was found with bruises on her neck and had been strangled sitting in a chair in their living room after Josh Lambert, played by Patrick Wilson, was able to astrally project into that region between death and the afterlife called the Further, and go get his and Renee's son, Dalton, played by Ty Simpkins. After they can't find enough evidence to charge anybody in particular with Elise's death, the police let the Lamberts go, and since their home is a crime scene, they go and live with his mom, Lorraine, played by Barbara Hershey. Thinking that everything's hunky-dory and peachy keen, that there aren't going to be any more bumps in the night, they find out rather quickly that they are wrong, that weird things are still going on, and at one point, Renee sees a woman in white floating around the house, so she contacts Elise's, no, that's wrong, Lorraine also catches a glimpse of weirdness and hears strange things. Even though Josh is going, I don't see what the big deal is, just ignore it, it'll go away. Lorraine contacts Lisa's helpers in the paranormal. That was Tucker and Specs, Lee Winnell, or rather Angus Sampson and Lee Winnell. They in turn get a hold of a guy named Carl Stanaway, who is shown as a younger version of himself in that 1986 flashback, helping Elise with the young Josh. Carl Stanaway, played by Steve Coulter. He contacts the dead using dice, and the plan is to try to get a hold of Elise and, with her help, figure out what's going on and why the Lamberts are still being haunted. That's kind of a convoluted plot, isn't it? Yep, it is. And it's also kind of a convoluted story in the movie as well, which is one of this film's primary weaknesses. The other being, it's just not terribly scary. I really enjoyed Insidious, the original, and was impressed by how they made such an inexpensive film with a budget of only $1.5 million and turned it into such a scary film. Now, I did have some issues with the ending. I thought it sort of fell back on some haunted house tropes at the end of the film. But overall, I thought it was great. And Insidious Chapter 2 falls far short of the original. It tends to have fits and starts as far as the story goes. It seems to start developing some stuff, and then it pulls back from that and starts over again. And on top of that, just not terribly scary. Now, I did like how at the end they pulled all these various things together, including bits from the first film they include some clips from the first film into this film to tie some things together, as well as tying some what seemingly unexplainable events from the 1986 section of the film into the present. And I liked the way it did that. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you how or what it is they do, but I did enjoy that. And there's a decent amount of suspense at the end as the battle for the Lambert family is being fought both in the real world and in the further. Did enjoy that part. But, unfortunately, its ending can't overcome the weaknesses of the first of it. It really is too bad because I thought Insidious was a terrific film. Very scary. Was hoping for more of the same, and instead what we get is kind of a mishmash of genres, as they include a murder mystery and domestic drama and other types of things going on, and get away from the core of the scary movie part of it. That's a shame, because this one's not nearly as good. I'm giving Insidious Chapter 2 2 guitars. Go to WIMZ.com to read my complete review, as well as to vote on the movie that I'll see next time. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them to me at stanthemovieman@att.net, and you can follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan. Till next time, later.